Hello children, welcome back to part 2 of our quick crash course in MakeCode Arcade. So I'm going to show you all how to create a simple project, right? So by the way, children, we are into our fourth game, right? We have progressed quite far. We are into our fourth game called Shooter. So what I'm going to try to do today, right? I'm going to crash course you guys on the fourth game. Game number 4, right? So I hope y'all can try to follow up. Okay, let's try this, right, children? So once, as in part 1, we have learned how to create your MakeCode Arcade account using your Google account. So once you have logged in everything, right, first thing, of course, is to create a new project. So over here, you'll see new project. Click on new project, give it a name. Let's say give it a Shooter. This is our name. Right, and then click on create, and straight away you will have this page, right? So very quick rundown, the basic interface of MakeCode Arcade. So on your left, this is called your simulator. On your left side, this is called the simulator, right? So whatever you code, right, will reflect real time on the simulator, right? We'll see this in action later on. So in the center portion here, these are all your modules, code modules, right? These are all the code modules, and you can see all the code blocks are separated in different code modules, right? We have things like sprites, controller, your game, your music, so on and so forth, right? And of course, on the main screen here on the right hand side, this is your coding workspace. Okay, coding workspace. And on your bottom right, look down at bottom right, you will see something else. Okay, let me get rid of this first. Okay, you'll see your undo and redo buttons here at the bottom right. You have your plus. Plus is what? To zoom in. Minus is to zoom out, right? You can click and drag and scroll your workspace around. Of course, here we talk about we're using code block, block coding language. This is the one. Of course, you have JavaScript and other things as well. We won't cover this, right? We are focusing on block coding for our MakeCode Arcade. And then we have our home button, we have a share button. I'll go more into details about all these things later on as we progress along. Okay, so children, let's get straight into it. I think the best way to learn is to actually start a project. Okay, so we are using our fourth game as an example. It's called Shooter. So try to bear with me, children, right? Okay, so this green code block here, this is called the event code block. So when the program starts, something will happen, right? Something will happen. So we're going to add codes into this event block. So first thing, right? Typically, the first thing what we do is we're going to give instructions or introduction for your audience, the people who are playing this game. So first thing you need to do is very simple. Go to game. Right, go to game, scroll all the way down, you'll see show long text. So left click, drag, and place it inside here. How do you delete? Very simple. If you want to delete, just select the code block. You can press the backspace or delete on your keyboard, right? Or another way is to left click and drag and release it in this bin. Okay, like this. And if you want to undo, bottom right, you can click on undo. Or you can use your shortcut keys, Control-Z to undo, right? So these are some of the keys that you can learn. So show long text is basically what? Showing long text, right? So let's type in some words here. So we can see like this is my fourth game. Okay, press enter to finalize, right? And then we can go to this option, pull down menu here, and we can choose other options for example, full screen, right? And you notice when I change on your left hand side, the simulator will change, right? So it's real time. So you can see your changes as you code along. Okay, so we can add even more long text. So we can go to our game again, going down, show long text, click and drag and release. So I'll use full screen again, and I will give it I'll give more instructions, right? Children, I encourage you to give more instructions for the audience so that they will know how to play the game. So I won't go through this because I don't want to waste too much time on this, but I'm going to give you an example right? Like you can give an introduction. This game is called Shooter, and then you can type the basic information, right, on how to play the game. Right, you must give some information for your friends or your audience to know how to play the game. Otherwise, they'll be lost. So this is where you can type in all your game instructions, right? Tell them, oh, you will start off with 3 life. You will your objective is to shoot down as many planes and score as many points as possible. Things like this. Okay, so just to let you all know, before we continue, I will show you all, right, what this game is about, okay, before we proceed on. So how do we go back? You can click on home. Okay, top right is a home button. I will show you all the sample of this game. All right, so this is all the codes. Okay, on the left is a simulator. How do you go full screen on simulator? You can see this button here, right? This little button on your right, launch in full screen. And then A button is also your space bar on your keyboard. So when I press the space bar, I will start the game. So this game, it is very simple, okay, but we're going to add in more and more complex elements as we progress along in your coding journey, okay? So over here, you can see that you're controlling the red colored plane on the left, right? I'm using my keyboard arrows to control the plane. You have 3 lives, right? That is denoted by the 3 hearts. At your top right, you see the score is what? 0. Okay, the score is 0. And you have your enemy planes coming in from the right-hand side. The blue colored enemy planes, right? They're moving in at the right-hand side. So the objective, of course, is to, when I press the space bar, I will fire off a projectile. Okay, the objective is very simple. I need to destroy as many planes as I can while collecting points. And you can see here that a enemy plane destroyed is worth 1 point. Right? And how do I lose a life? Okay, I will lose a life when my plane crashes into an enemy plane, right? That's what you can see over here, right? So if that happens, I will, when my 3 lives are all used up, the game is over and my final score is at 4. Okay, so this is basically the game that we're going to code, right, to give you all some idea of what the game is all about. So going back to home again, I'm going to launch the game that I just automatically saved, which is called Shooter, this one, right? So now we have an idea of what the game is all about. We can proceed on from here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a plane. Okay, I need to create a character plane. So to do that, this is very simple. Oh, maybe before we do that, let's set the score to 0 first. Okay, how do you set the score to 0? Go to info, set score to 0. So that means every time the game starts, I want the score to start from 0. And I'm going to set the life to 3. Same thing, go to info, set life to 3. Okay, right, children? So if you find that you have problems, okay, remembering where to find the specific code in the code modules, what you can do is you can use the search function here, okay? Search function, you click on here, you can do something like set life. Okay, I'm not too sure where exactly it is located. I can do a quick search, and over here you can see as I type along, it will filter the search results, and I will be able to find the exact code block that I need, which is all of this, right? So we can set the life to 3, set player, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so this is a very time-saving tool to use, right? The search button here. Okay, now we're going to introduce our player. How do we introduce the player? Is under Sprites. Okay, Sprites is basically your character or an object that you're going to introduce in coding. So the very first code block, set my sprite to something. Okay, we're going to click and drag and place this here. So over here, children, you can see we have the green color code block, which is the event code block. We have our sequencing. So this is our instruction number 1, instruction number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, the sequencing. These are all the sequencing. So this is our character. So how do we create a character? So this here, okay, my sprite, what is what we call the name of your character or the name of the object. So I'm going to give it a name for my character. So I'm going to click on the down arrow and I'm going to rename it. Okay, I think my sprite is a very boring name. Let's give it a better name. So clicking on rename variable, I'm going to type in my plane. Okay, I'm going to call this character called my plane. Click on OK and you can see it changes. And I'm going to give it an image. So over here, you can see the gray square, right? Clicking on this, I can choose an image. Right, so children, I want you all to explore a little bit about this graphic editor, right? Explore a little bit on it. Okay, to save time, this is a crash course. We're going straight into gallery over here. Go to gallery. We're going to scroll down and we're going to look for the red color plane, which is this one. Okay, this red color plane. Click on this. We loaded the image. Click on done at the bottom right of your screen. And we can also choose the type or the kind of character it is. We can use it. We can choose player, projectile, food, enemy, and we can even add new kinds. But for now, we know that this is a player character. We're going to keep it as player. Okay. So far, I hope everyone is doing fine, right? And if you notice, we can actually take a look at the simulator. So when I press A, the button A, you can actually see what I have just coded into the game. And you notice one thing, that the plane is facing to the left, right? It's facing to the left. We need to turn it around to face it to the right, right? I won't go through that for now, okay? Slowly, right? We're going to do it step by step. So I'm going to control the plane first. How do I control the plane? Going to controller, right? You can see, move my sprite with buttons. I'm going to click and drag this down. So is this the correct code? No. Okay, how do I know? Okay, do you see the exclamation mark here? Right? You see that exclamation mark here? This is telling you that something it is not right. Because why? We don't have a character called my sprite. We have created a character called my plane. So we need to change this to my plane. And once we have this, let's check out the game again. Can we move our character with our keyboard arrows? You can use your keyboard arrows or the soft keys here. Okay, so moving the keyboard arrows, you can see what I can move the plane left, up, down, left, right. Okay, I have a problem. The plane, I can move it off screen, right? I want to keep the plane in screen. So how do we do it? Right, going to sprites again, scroll down, and over here you can see set my sprite to stay in screen. Click and drag and release. And is it correct, this code? No, because we need to change this to my plane, and I will make sure that staying in screen is on. So when I start the game, my plane right now cannot move off screen, right? It is limited within the boundaries of the screen. Okay, right, children? And so I hope so far you guys are all doing good. Is there anything that I have left out? Okay, I'm going to stop here for part 2, right? I'm going to stop here for part 2. Digest all this information first, and we will go on to part 3 in the next one. So see you all in the next video lesson.